While Ukraine is under attack, India's foreign policy has been scrutinized in ways never seen before. India was one of just 3 countries to vote against a resolution proposed by the United States condemning Russia's invasion. On the matter of Ukraine versus Russia, the West has criticized India for not siding with the world's democracies. There isn't a single researcher, journalist, or public intellectual in the Western environment who doesn't doubt India's morality in voting against Russia's attack on Ukraine in the United Nations Security Council. Some analysts have warned India that importing Russian oil might result in sanctions. However, these so-called experts failed to see that, throughout the Cold War, India developed a partnership with the Soviet Union. That has continued over into the present day because of mutual interest and nostalgia, and why it makes no sense for a nation of 1.3 billion people to take a hostile stance towards a country that has supported India's interests since independence. However, defense may be the most important factor. India's defense alliance with Russia is essential if it is to stand up to China. Because India is engaged in balancing China in the Indo-Pacific, the West is beginning to recognize this geopolitical issue. According to Australia's High Commissioner to India, Barry O'Farrell, the Quad nations have accepted India's position. He said, "We recognize that each nation has a bilateral connection, and it is apparent from the Ministry of External Affairs and Prime Minister Modi's words that he has utilized his contacts to call for the end of the war." It is worth noting that, although Scott Morrison has warned China with sanctions for any move to support Russia, he has been more circumspect when asked about India's attitude. When questioned about India's reluctance to criticize Russia's actions, Morrison stated last month that other nations have different levels of interaction with Russia, which he respects. U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price stated that "We know that India has a relationship with Russia that is distinct from the relationship we have with Russia. Of course, that is okay." Russia's strategic alliance with China also casts doubt on Moscow's ability to be a dependable security partner for New Delhi, particularly in the case of a war with China. India simply cannot afford to isolate itself from China and Russia, which would increase its reliance on the West. After years of neglecting the Indo-Pacific concept, the European Union appears to have finally recognized the necessity to include it into its own strategic framework, as it seeks a new worldwide position as a geopolitical actor. The BRI is confronted with obstacles at a time when the Indo-Pacific narrative is gaining traction throughout the world. The EU unveiled its Indo-Pacific policy, which aims for regional peace, security, prosperity, and long-term growth. They simply cannot jeopardize this by isolating India. The administration of Joe Biden has produced an Indo-Pacific policy plan that focuses on countering China's expanding economic and military dominance, while also enabling India to oppose them. Because of China's ascent, India and the US have extended their alliance in recent years. American interests can only be achieved if the US firmly anchors in the Indo-Pacific and strengthens the area itself, alongside its closest allies and partners. In the world, there are no permanent enemies. As a result, Indians may be persuaded to forget that the United States aided Pakistan in the 1971 war for the liberation of Bangladesh against India. However, even in recent times, the US has failed to provide strategic support to India in order to help it cement its position against China or even Pakistan on issues such as cross-border terrorism or territorial integrity. When border clashes between Indian and Chinese soldiers became deadly, it was Russian President Vladimir Putin who pressured China not to aggravate the situation. In the post-Cold War era, the West has not done enough to assist Asian democracy in securing its borders. India's illusions about China are over. A possible two-front conflict against both China and Pakistan poses a significant threat to India, especially given that many perceive Pakistan to be a puppet of Beijing. The army avoided a conflict with China over Ladakh, but battlefield collaboration between China and Pakistan might be a nightmare. Aside from military conflicts, India has gone on the offensive in other areas. China sulked as India extended out to Taiwan, thereby recognizing its nationhood. India has banned 200 Chinese applications and has limited Chinese firms' foreign direct investment. Making an alliance with India is critical for countries seeking to end Chinese aggression, expansion, and takeover. This is why, when Japan founded the Quad, it selected India, because it saw India as a big power that is highly significant and can be relied on. Some Chinese experts assume that Russia is a fervent ally of China, who will attack anybody who threatens China, but this is not the case. Russia doesn't care about China, and it surely wouldn't protect it, unless the country attacking China was close to Russia's borders. Russia was literally assisting India in the development of its BrahMos 2 hypersonic cruise missile. Russia aided India in the development of its nuclear arsenal. Russia sells India large quantities of tanks and planes, among other things. If Russia is supposed to be a fervent ally of China, it may be the worst ally ever, because Russia has objectively transformed the Indian military's capabilities into something that can truly do serious damage to China. If a war breaks out and India now has a lot more national security as a result of having these weapons, China simply can't bully it. As a result, India's position must be strengthened. The United States should no longer engage in softball with Pakistan. Other allies must support India's position in the Indo-Pacific. The West must comprehend India's position and strategic independence. India's position in the Indo-Pacific is crucial, and they cannot put pressure on India to join Russia in its isolation.